Hi, this is a Yesterday's Moose production, and we're back with Deluxe Paint 4. Animation in progress. I was going to make a mouth, but then this happened. I made this mouth, then that mouth. Wait for it, slightly different. This mouth. And the end result was none of them ended up being permanent. So let's get started. We're going to go ahead and fix this. What happened was that when I was trying to label what the mouth shapes were, as in ah, e, t, o, all those sorts of things, I pressed the O button, and in an emulator, the O button actually just exits out of the program or crashes it or something. So I lost my progress 3 times in a row. And now here I am again, creating a mouth. The entire purpose of this is just so that I can have different mouth shapes for when I talk. I'm not going to have many different mouth shapes because, as I said before, this is supposed to look bad. Cheesy, limited animation frames. So I'm only making a few different mouth shapes. I've sped up my designing process a little bit here so that it's easier and takes up less time. Well, it's not easier. Easier to watch, maybe, less watch time. After all, this was something like 40 minutes in total. At this point, I'm just making some teeth, and no, they're not going to be yellow. They look fairly straight. I think I like the design of that. So we got M, O, and T, S. If you catch my meaning, whenever I say a T or an S, this is the shape it's going to be. And I want it to open my mouth a little bit so that I can talk and then expand that more. I've already accidentally removed some of the color from under my nose there. As you can see, it's white, the lines on the edge of my nose. I'm going to fix that eventually. Now, the size of the mouth is not super important. And I'm not sure exactly why I want to do this, but I'm going to add a tongue for certain things. Here's the uvula. Gotta have that. It's too long. Still too long. There, nice and subtle. Got some shading around the tongue. Now I just place this tongue in the other mouth. It's not going to be in this mouth because you wouldn't really see it yet. It's only when I open my mouth wider that you'll be able to see it. As usual, cutting out that portion of the face causes a little problems, at least the way I'm cutting it. I missed some of the lines there, but it doesn't matter. I can always add them back. Just fix the shape. And that looks good, I think. Now I'm going to make an L shape for the tongue. So you have the tongue curling up a little bit. I don't have to do this, but I put the little line that's under the tongue. Yeah, there's a line under the tongue. There's also a line on top of the tongue, but it's in a different spot. So now I have an L. And we'll just move this down somewhat. And seems to be working. Let's fix that. Nope, not like that. Gotta give myself those lines back. Fix my chin over there. I don't know what I did to that. Gotta make sure it's consistent across all of the faces. And now what I wanted to do was I just wanted to add this little groove under my mouth so that it's moving when I talk. That's not really necessary, but for this version of me, that's going to be the way it looks. Now, instead of typing on the keyboard, I'm just going to draw the letters because pressing buttons on the keyboard has become a problem. If I'm going to accidentally reset by pressing a button on the keyboard, then I'm only going to stick to the commands that I know work right now. And that does not involve spelling things out on the screen. At least not through the keyboard. I can throw on an on-screen keyboard and do it that way. I'm going to probably have to do that for a lot of things. Maybe. But for now, it seems to work. And it's not resetting. Now, I realized I was missing the sound of the letter P when you say P. So the O shape is not good. The closed mouth is not good. I have to make pursed lips. And to make pursed lips, you have to shorten the mouth and make the line in the middle very small. That doesn't really look right at all. And now, because I've had so many problems with things crashing, I'm doing things to save time, such as getting an O shape for the mouth, because that's close to the shape I want. Now I just want to extend it out a little bit, shorten it so that it's a little bit more closed. I'm also just going to work on one side at a time because I can just copy it over to the other side and it takes up slightly less time. I've added some shading. I'm sure that's pretty obvious so far from what I've been doing, such as the lines under the nose, the ears. There's some shading around the mouth and whatnot. It just makes it look a little better and also a little more visually interesting. And then that way I can kind of avoid having to redo things in the future. I will avoid having to add shadows. Save myself a little bit of time in the grand scheme of things. And now we finally have a proper mouth. It kind of looks like a kissy face, but that's the idea. It's supposed to look like that. Now just add the line there. Yeah. It really looks like I'm going to start singing the song from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Science fiction picture show. Yeah, that song. But look, there's all the mouth shapes. I think it's done. Let's compare with what I did before. Slightly different. It looks pretty much the same. That one looks exactly the same, just the tongue is slightly different. Again, here's the end result. This is what it's going to look like from now on. We're going to pick up in the next videos. Thank you very much for watching. This has been a Yesterday's Moose production, and I'll see you next time.